Hi, I'm Bobby Harrison, and this delightful beast is a custom-built guitar by Dave Walsh at Eternal Guitars and Hot Rod Pickups in Chichester, UK. This is my fourth custom-built guitar by Eternal, which technically makes me quadraternal. And the thought process behind this guitar was I wanted a T-type that could handle Les Paul duties, so I wanted a humbucker in the bridge, and I'm a real big fan of P90s, and I wanted a P90 in the neck. So what we have is, instead of the standard three-way switch that you get in a T-type guitar, we've actually got a five-way, and I'll demonstrate that later. But just to tell you a bit more about the guitar itself, this is a delightful finish over finish paint job. It's actually metallic ice blue, or ice blue metallic, over three-tone sunburst, and that is actually genuine three-tone sunburst. The guitar was painted sunburst. In fact, Dave sent me a picture of it after he'd painted it, before he'd put the ice blue metallic over it, and said, "Don't get too attached." And I was starting to think, well, maybe I like it in the sunburst, because it's an ash body, and it's really nice to kind of see the grain coming through. But we decided to paint it ice blue metallic, and obviously it's very, very heavily aged. It's the most heavily aged guitar that I own, and they specialise in that kind of work. If you really want the kind of relic thing, or you can have a pristine looking guitar. The choice is yours if you go for a custom build with Eternal. And a few kind of important specs. Not really that important in the grand scheme of things, but just notable specs on this guitar. As I mentioned, it's an ash body, one-piece ash body, maple neck, rosewood fingerboard. We have an HFT humbucker in the bridge. HFT stands for Hot for Teacher, so it's quite high. Well, it's not high, it's a kind of vintage, a hot vintage, I guess, a hot vintage humbucker in the bridge. And we have what's known as a V90 in the neck. Standard T-style plate, but as I mentioned before, we've got five-way. We've got this delightful pick guard. The body is, check that out on the back. I really like that. So the body is contoured. So we have the standard kind of S-type belly cut there, and we have a contour here. We've got a contour allowing for upper fret access. Really lovely C-shaped neck, quite a flat profile for a T-type guitar, which I really like. It's a comfortable, the neck itself is a comfortable kind of C shape. We have Goto locking tuners, and we also have the lumin lays, which are the luminous inlays, as the name suggests. They're not garish by any stretch of the imagination. You wouldn't even know they were glow in the dark if you saw them in normal light, but if you just kind of run your phone light over them before you go on stage, then you won't get lost during the gig, which is really handy if you're playing on dark stages. I absolutely love this guitar. Being left-handed, it's quite difficult for me to find, well, any guitar really, particularly vintage guitars. So this guitar has a vintage feel to it. And tonally, it's really, really versatile. You heard in the playthrough, I tried to go through as many of the 5 pickup positions as I could. I don't think I quite made it, but let's just demonstrate with a clean sound. The neck pickup first. So that's the neck P90, which is a really nice, it's a very kind of warm sound. This next position is the neck P90, but it also splits the bridge pickup. So we have half of the humbucker, so it's a single coil. Effectively, it's that Telecaster middle position. Which is really nice. The middle position is the humbucker and the P90 together. This next position actually splits the humbucker. It's half of the humbucker on its own, so it's kind of like a single coil. So you've got that kind of Tele it comes in handy for that kind of thing. And in contrast, this position here is the humbucker on its own, and that sounds great with a lot of filth. This guitar is actually named Mary. It's a tradition at Eternal to name your guitars. I named this after my late grandmother. And you get a rather fetching nameplate on the back, which is engraved. Mine's actually being engraved at the moment. This guitar is quite new. But if you're in the market for a custom-built guitar, pickups, setups, then I highly recommend Eternal Guitars in Chichester, UK.